Welcome to my introductory video on arrest. In this video we're going to determine what constitutes a valid arrest, what should you do when you are arrested, and what can you do about being unlawfully arrested. Arrest. There are two types of arrest. The first is arrest without a warrant. The second is arrest with a warrant. Arrest without a warrant. You can be lawfully arrested without a warrant when any of the following are true. The police officer observed you committing a felony. The officer has probable cause to believe you committed a felony. Now this often gets twisted, but probable cause requires that the officer has first-hand knowledge or a sworn statement taken from a responsible third party. By responsible party, it is meant that they've filed a sworn statement and you can sue them if they've lied. And lastly, the officer observed you breaching the peace. A breach of the peace entails acting in a way that is likely to incite others to violence. Not inciting people to violence, not breaching the peace. Arrest with a warrant. To be validly arrested with a warrant, the warrant must be valid, and a valid warrant requires all of the following. First, you are the one identified on the warrant. Second, a crime must be alleged on the warrant. Third, the jurisdiction relied upon is stated on the warrant. Fourth, a magistrate must have signed the warrant. Fifth, the warrant must be supported by an affidavit, which is a signed statement by somebody. And lastly, the officer must have the warrant in their possession and show it upon demand. Now, they don't have to show it on demand if you ask for the warrant and run away. If you suspect you are under arrest, you should ask, "Am I under arrest?" If you're not under arrest, ask, "Then am I free to go?" It's one or the other here. Either you are under arrest or you are free to go. Make the officer tell you which one it is. If you are not under arrest, ask to see the warrant. If this will let you know if you're actually being arrested via warrant or not, so that you can determine whether the arrest is lawful. Third, stand on your right to remain silent. There is absolutely nothing that you can tell the officer that will help you. Nothing. And finally, demand to be taken before a magistrate if there is no warrant. One other thing to note here is that if you actually have found a good lawyer, then ask for counsel, because they must provide it, and note that you will not speak until counsel is present. The right to remain silent. The reason that you do not have to answer a police officer's questions is that you have the right to remain silent. If pressed, simply note that you must respectfully decline to answer that question for each question asked of you. If the officer asks, "Are you going to answer any of my questions?" just repeat, "I must respectfully decline to answer that question." Miranda protects you if you are under arrest. Remember, you have the right to remain silent. Freedom of association protects you if you are not under arrest. You can choose who you do and do not want to talk with. Do not let them hoodwink you. You absolutely do not have to talk with the police officer. The right not to self-incrimination. You have the right not to testify against yourself. Testifying amounts to presenting evidence. It is for this reason that you have the right not to provide identification, registration, insurance, or anything else when stopped by the police. The United States of America is not World War II Germany, yet. You do not have to have papers at all, or if you do have them, carry them wherever you go. False imprisonment. This is a crime. If you have been arrested, but the arrest does not meet the requirements for an arrest with or without a warrant, then the arrest is not lawful. It is criminal. Additionally, if you are arrested without a warrant and not taken promptly before a magistrate and charged with something, you have been unlawfully arrested. An unlawful arrest is a crime called false imprisonment. The elements of false imprisonment. False imprisonment has two elements. An element is a requirement for a crime to be proven in a court of law. The first element that you must prove is that you were detained or restrained against your will. This is why you ask if you are under arrest. The second element is that the detainment or restraint must be unlawful. All you have to do to prove this is that all things required for the type of arrest you were under were not done. Detained against your will. To prove you were detained against your will, ideally you will have recorded the conversation and got the officer to state that you are under arrest, and submit the tape as evidence by authenticating it with an affidavit, which is a signed statement. Alternately, you write up an affidavit stating that the officer clearly answered that yes, you were under arrest when you asked him. Unlawful detainment. To prove that you were unlawfully detained or restrained, you simply determine whether you were under an arrest with or without a warrant, and then allege that any requirement for that type of arrest did not exist. Again, a recording of the conversation can help greatly here if properly entered into evidence. Filing a claim. If both elements of false arrest are true, then you can file a claim against the officer for false arrest and win fairly reliably. You should file any such claim in a court of general jurisdiction and not a local city court. Know the process. By itself, this information gives you a basic framework that you can use to avoid a variety of charges that you might find yourself charged with on a day-to-day basis. However, if you do not take the time to learn about the court process, you will be at the mercy of your lawyer if you attempt to use it. A lawyer's first duty is to the state, not to you, so good luck using a lawyer to go after the state. Now, of course, the legal stuff. I'm not a lawyer, and I have no formal legal training, though I spend quite a bit of time studying it. However, you can verify the facts in this video to yourself in any good law encyclopedia. I recommend American Jurisprudence. But you can also check Corpus Juris, Corpus Juris Secundum, or American Jurisprudence 2D. Any one of these should have good information on both arrest and false arrest. It may be called false imprisonment. How to use this information. Now that you know what arrest and false arrest are, you should become familiar with what an action is, specifically a cause of action, but it will be action in a legal encyclopedia, as well as the elements required for various causes of action. From there, you can use arrest to avoid corrupt infraction processes by forcing them to arrest you, instead of signing their forms, which are actually contracts. So, looking at the following list, ask yourself, which ones of these are felonies, and which ones of these are inciting other people to violence? Speeding? Parking? Resisting arrest? Skateboarding? Your grass is taller than City Hall would like it to be. You have too many garage sales within a specific period of time. You're trading things with other people without going down and getting a business license. Well, the only one of these that can cause you to be arrested is resisting arrest. And resisting arrest requires that, in the first place, you are actually being arrested for a valid crime. Otherwise, if you are arrested for anything else listed here, and quite a few other things, more than likely you were falsely imprisoned. Have a good day.